On this edition of Native Report, we meet artist Wendy Savage.
But there were different beads at the time that had different colors, and you can't get those colors today.
We attend the Mash Ka Wisen Powwow.
And we meet a trio of documentary filmmakers from Finland who are chronicling the connections between Ojibwe and Finnish cultures.
We also learn something new about what it takes to be a leader in Indian country and hear from our elders on this Native Report.
Production of Native Report is made possible by grants from the Shakopee-Mdewakanton Sioux Community, the Blandin Foundation, and the Duluth Superior Area Community Foundation.
Welcome to Native Report. I'm Rita Aspinwall.
And I'm Ernie Stevens. Artist Wendy Savage has an extensive exhibition background, and her works of art have been displayed in the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and as far away as the city of Petrozavodsk in the former Soviet Union. She draws upon her Ojibwe heritage to create canvases of natural and sometimes personal beauty.
Home to two art galleries, the Gamaji Building in downtown Duluth is the spot for the region's Native American artists to exhibit their works of art. Today, we'll interview Wendy Savage and view some of her paintings.
My art evolves with what I want to do at different times. I don't stick with one media, although I keep going back to traditional Ojibwe beadwork. And lately now I'm paintings, and then also working on a cradle board. I think Native American art is taking a resurgence, and with what we have going here at Jamaji here, we've taken over this room and turned it into an art studio. We've had many exhibitions with Trepanner Hall, and for years I was a curator for the Ojibwe Art Expo, and then I was also a curator for a few other shows. And it's become the hot spot in Duluth. We had a young group of students that were in here from Cromwell, and it was the first gallery experience they had, and they were interviewing me for their yearbook. And the one young man said, "What was your favorite piece of art?" And I said, "You know what? I just found it. It was hidden in a closet for the last 10 years. And it's the first oil pastel I did of a ribbon applique design." So then I found these fabulous oil pastels from Switzerland, I think, and started playing with those because I like to be very tactile with my hands. So I started rubbing and moving that. And it's the most exciting piece that I've done, and I'll never sell it, and I'll never give it away. And it's kept me going for the last 30 years, and now I'm going back again doing those patterns.
Wendy, tell us about this piece, Gold Bud.
This was the first piece that I did in this series, and it was based on a moccasin beadwork pattern that I did for two family members that were coming up for a wedding. And I fell in love so much with the design that I did that I decided to recreate it on this birch board, which led to this whole series. This is a new media for me. These are birch boards, and this is just basic acrylic paint. But I also like dots because I like the beadwork, and the way that I kind of get the interpretation of dots is with this very special paint pen that you go in and you dot one single thing at a time. And I like the hearts because it's just something that I always bead, but it has this double curve motif. And when you study the double curve motif, it goes way back to the Hopewell culture, and you can find a lot of that done in the Hopewell culture. And the colors that I've selected, these are old beadwork patterns that come from the early 1900s to the late 1800s. But there were different beads at the time that had different colors, and you can't get those colors today. So they're a little more muted, they're a little more rich, they look more like jewels, and I have some of them. And so that's what I've based these color designs on, is the old-time beads that you used to be able to get. And they're not being done anymore. On the outside, since it's this great birch board, I have this old-time design that's a triangle, and usually it's based off of the otter pattern, and it's like 3 triangles and then a longer triangle, and it's based on the way that the otter walks when he's in the snow, as he does 3 jumps and then he slides. And I also find that really wonderful, because if you're going to have this nice birch board, why wouldn't you use all the surfaces? It gives it another dimension, and people can come up and say, oh, that's great. But then if they're really looking, they can go, look, she's got something on the sides, and she's got something on the top, and something on the bottom. I always like to do a little bit of intrigue and make artists, and the general public just look a little closer.
Wendy comes from a family of artists, and one can see how important family is in her mixed media piece titled 4 Generations. She and her siblings have exhibited their works nationally and internationally.
When you come from a family of 6 of us that have all done artwork, it's rather an exciting lifestyle. And we travel all over. We go to museums, we talk a lot to each other's art, and we all travel in a pack. It's like our own tribe. Wherever someone's working, if they're working on site, we're all going to go there. So it's rather exciting, and we feed off of each other, and there's a lot of encouragement. I just think it's something that we do because it's part of our community and part of what we want to do. I'm very comfortable with being a Native American artist. I think that's what makes us unique. If you want to look at the state of what a culture is in, or the state, you look at their arts. Art has always been around. That's the one thing we do as humans. We are the only creature that creates art. When you look into, and you do a lot of study in museums and go to the history, and you start looking at Native American art, how could you not want to do that? It's just so gorgeous and just so beautiful. It just speaks to your soul.
I was always taught to respect another individual. Don't try to put yourself above other people, and treat people how you want to be treated. And I was always taught by my grandmother that there's only one road in life. Don't hold a grudge or don't hate anybody. Talk good to people, respect people. Because on this one road of life, you might need their help or they might need your help. And always treat people with respect. So that's what I try to live by day in, day out. And so that's one of the decisions, when people come here, they're not here just to be here. They're here for help. And I try to help as much as I can. There's some areas we can't help, but just supporting them is the biggest thing. Not really enabling them, but more supporting and helping them.
Summertime is powwow time across Indian country. The annual Mash Ka Wisen Sobriety Powwow on the Fond du Lac Reservation celebrates the importance of sobriety and healthy living. The powwow aims to help those in recovery reconnect to their cultural roots and to bond with other people who have been through similar life challenges.
The beat of the drum and singers' voices echo across the powwow grounds as dancers make their way into the arena at the Mash Ka Wisen Sobriety Powwow. This gathering is special for many who are in attendance.
This is our 37th annual celebration of Sobriety Powwow. Our first year was 1979. We had 2 drums and no vendors. Now the numbers change. We tend to have about 20 drums, and last year we had about 500 dancers total. And we get a lot of people that show up to camp here and will stay here for the weekend. We try to make it a full adventure for everybody. We have AA meetings ongoing. We have an AA meeting on Friday, 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday, which we've been doing for many years, where for alumni and stuff, and it's a constant alumni gathering, and for us it's a chance for us to thank the people that have came through our program. For us as an organization, it gives us an opportunity to see those that are doing good. One thing that we do is trying to get the former clients and people in this community and other communities and getting the families involved by coming to the powwow and doing a cultural event and finding out how much fun someone can have in sobriety. We try to get families involved in the treatment of their loved one when they are here, but this is a great event for them to come to and celebrate as a family. And being able to sit and watch a mom and a dad, a little 3-year-old boy, a 4-year-old girl, a 74-year-old man dancing their hearts out because they're really enjoying sobriety. And it's so much fun watching the true smiles come from people and happiness because they're sober. And it's the first time they've been sober in 2 years, 6 months, and they've got 2 years, 5 years under their belt. And that's a joy for us, watching the families get together and enjoy each other's company in a good setting.
The treatment center is credited with saving many people's lives, and the powwow celebrates both healthy living and pride in being Native American.
I've been coming to the powwow for maybe 20-some years. I worked as a technician at Mash Ka Wisen for a while, and I was working also down at the Thunderbird and Wren House for about 5 years. I've been sober now about 40 years. I've always lived a good life. I always enjoyed living no matter where I've been. When I was growing up, all we had was probably the hardest at that point in time was alcohol. Then it went into marijuana, and now they got stuff that can kill you first time out. And you know, the evolution of that chemical stuff, you know, it's hard to tell anybody not to try it, you know, to listen to their teachings. And it's hard, I think, for the young people to really do that. There's very few people around that will, other than in treatment centers, that will tell them, you know, to stay sober or stay clean, and I think it's hard for them to do at this point in time because addiction is, you know, the first time out you get addicted to that stuff, and it's not very pleasant to see. I mean, when you see these young people start dying on you and killing themselves, that's not a good thing. My only advice is you got to work your program. You got to be aware of what these chemicals can do to you, because they're not going to do anything for you. When I first came out here to Mash Ka Wisen, the guy said, you know, one of the counselors out here said, you know, if you're sitting here listening to me and you say you're Christian, you're Catholic or Protestant or Jew, or you follow the native ways, he said that's not true, because you already offended your body. You're sticking stuff in your body that you know, any religion, whether it's Indian or white, tells you how what to do with your body, and it's not abusing it.
The Mash Ka Wisen Powwow is described as a family reunion, one where community takes on a deeper meaning.
You see a lot of the same people all over, and they become your family. So when you go to the powwow, it's like a family reunion for many people when they're going to powwow. The drum is the heartbeat of the next generation. It's what gives us the power to move forward every day, and it's telling our clients when they walk out the door they've experienced some more culture and spirituality by going to the powwow. And in Minnesota, we know that the summer season is powwow, and getting them involved in the powwow and hoping that they're going to come back to join us next year. We get many former people that call, and they're coming here to look for that counselor, for that cook, for that housekeeper, for that counselor aide who made a difference in their life, who said that one thing that made them stay sober. That's one of the big things and joyful things that we look forward to at our powwow. One thing that we really try to stress as an organization, because for so many people that are suffering from chemical dependency and alcoholism, is they've lost hope. Your family's already given up on you. What am I going to do now? One of the things that we stress to all of our clients is, get that year of sobriety under your belt and call us. We'll find you a job. I have 6 current employees right now that were former clients and that are proud to state that they were a former client. One of my board of directors members will point at the building and say, that's where my sobriety started. That carries strength for us.
Why is it important that we celebrate a good way of life?
Because we're losing the good way of life, because we have too many people every day and every year we're reading the paper and finding out about a friend, a neighbor, a loved one whom we've lost to drugs and alcohol. Now we're not as heartbroken because it happens too much. We need to do as much as we can to stop this from happening. The drugs are ravaging our communities. They're destroying our reservations. We need to do what we can to stop that from happening. That's what Mash Ka Wisen does. And Mash Ka Wisen is an Ojibwe word which means be strong, accept help. We're opening the door, hoping that they're going to grasp that and stay sober when they walk out the door and live a good life.
I believe we have to, like I said, try to keep ourselves at a higher standard. And one of the reasons that our tribe, I believe, is very successful in maintaining our culture is through our clan system. Like I said, I myself belong to the Pagan clan. It's matrilineal. You belong to the clan of your mother, and you're a child of your father's clan. Those are the people I would go to for prayer and for advice, for counsel. Yeah, they would be the big lodges. And I believe at one time there were approximately about 13 clans at one time, but through coming through the turns of each century, it's been reduced to I believe 7 now, 6 or 7. Some have joined together, like the newly made lodge and the big lodge combined together now to one clan.
Documentary filmmaker Maria Seppala and her 2 colleagues traveled from their home in Finland to Native communities in Michigan and Minnesota to learn about Findians, or more precisely, the connections between Finnish and Ojibwe cultures.
It is a Friday evening at the Mash Ka Wisen Powwow grounds, and for this trio of women, it's an opportunity for one final visit with friends they have made while making a documentary about the connections between the Ojibwe and Finnish cultures. It all began with a book about the subject.
The book is about, and the film is going to be about the Findians, because we found out that there are people with a Finn heritage and Native American heritage, and some of them actually call themselves Findian. Not all, obviously, but many are familiar with the term, and they sort of, took it to themselves. They sort of felt that this is like a good term to use it as. I mean, some feel that it's a bad word, some feel that it's a funny word, but many of these people sort of we met really feel that it's a nice word. So that's how we got interested, and that's how we decided to write this book about Findians, since it's not that, I guess in Finland people are not that familiar with these connections, and also many people we met here, the natives, both natives and both Finns, that there are lots of common practices and hunting, fishing, picking the berries, sauna, sweat lodge, lots of these kind of things. So that's why we are interested in exploring this more.
We wanted to tell a story about how Finnish immigrants came to America in end of the 19th century and during the 20th century, and how they settled down in the Minnesota and Wisconsin and Michigan. And we want to tell a story how these people met. Was it good? Was it bad? Of course, Finnish people were also like intruders, and they took the lands, and but in the same way in the one way they were in the same social level and in many times with the native people. And there was actually 1908 there was case in Duluth that 20 Finnish immigrants was denied to get citizenship of America because they were considered to be some kind of subhumans, which is kind of funny now because of course Finland is a country of highest education level in the world, but in those days it was kind of different.
During their time in the Native communities they visited, the trio learned about the similarities between the cultures, and their research has given them a deeper understanding of Native and Finnish community.
Most of the Finnish people don't have a very actual or accurate information about the Finnish immigrants coming to US. Many of them lost track to their relatives and also included me, myself. My relatives came to United States more than 100 years ago, and my parents have done a lot of work trying to find them, and they have found them, and we have good relationship nowadays. But for many of the Finns, it's not that beautiful story. They lost their connections, their ties, and it's quite sad story, and many of the Finnish people that I know would want to know more about the Finnish side in the United States. I have always been interested about native culture in US, and I was really curious to see how is the mixture of Finnish origin and native origin combined together. And as we learned during this process that they are very similar to each other. They have both exceptional respect for the nature. Both of them people are hunters, they are gatherers, and the people that we have met have impressed us three so deeply. All of them, they have been extremely warm and welcoming. They have been sharing their stories with such an open-hearted way.
I have been always interested of minorities and rights of native people and languages and how they can survive if if you don't teach them in the school. And for Ojibways, I have seen the struggle and how people are learning their language again, and how you teach language to your children, and how important that is for your own traditions and culture. And I want to talk about that in documentary.
That's for us, because we are Finns. It's been really welcoming for us, this place and all these reservations and places we've been. So I guess we learned that if you are yourself like really open-minded, then you can just meet these people and actually do a project that benefits both sides, not only us, but I mean it could benefit them as well. So, and they are also collaborating. It's something that we don't just go to communities and start interview, but I mean we are collaborating in a project. So
it is fitting that on their last night in the United States, Maria, Katya, and Miri are at the Mash Ka Wisen Powwow grounds. Their project has brought them full circle.
We are like observers and we are outsiders, but still you don't feel that you are an outsider. You can just walk around and talk to people, and people were really sort of in a positive mood. And I guess that is also something that people come together with, that you sort of meet so many different people from different communities that you wouldn't, I mean, maybe just by driving around, I mean, in the area, that wouldn't happen. So that was like really, also for us, it was like really a good place to be.
It's not only a story about Finnians, it's also, we are trying to do a deep research about the topic, because there have been not so much information collected on this. I have been very impressed by the new generation's attitude towards their traditions and culture. We have seen in powwows how 17-year-old boys are so happy and excited about the weekend and their regalia and their dancing and drumming, and they said to us that it's really the best weekend of the year. We can just drum and see friends and meet new people, and that's, for me, it means hope. We have a chance to keep these traditions alive.
For more information about Native Report or the stories we've covered, look for us at nativereport.org, on Facebook, and on Twitter. Thank you for spending this time with your friends and neighbors in Indian Country. I'm Rita Aspinwall.
And I'm Ernie Stevens. We'll see you next time on Native Report.
Rita Aspinwall is an enrolled member of the Fond du Lac Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa, and has a bachelor's degree in social work. Ernie Stevens is a member of the Oneida Nation of Wisconsin and serves on the board of directors for the American Indian Alaskan Native Tourism Association. Production of Native Report is made possible by grants from the Shakopee-Mdewakanton Sioux Community, the Blandin Foundation, and the Duluth Superior Area Community Foundation.